Welcome to HD Rare Coins, your ultimate source for rare coins, fascinating history, and the thrill of discovery. From legendary pennies to hidden gems, we explore the world of numismatics one amazing coin at a time. Imagine stepping back to the late 1950s, a time when America was navigating the tail end of a post-war boom shadowed by economic uncertainty. The year 1958 brought a recession that rippled through industries, from auto manufacturing to housing, as unemployment climbed and consumer spending tightened. Amid this backdrop, the United States Mint continued its steady production of everyday currency, including the humble 1-cent coin featuring Abraham Lincoln's profile, a design that had endured since 1909 to honor the president's centennial birth. Crafted primarily from copper with a touch of tin and zinc, these pennies rolled off the presses in Philadelphia and Denver, totaling over 1 billion pieces to meet the demands of commerce. Philadelphia alone struck more than 252 million, while Denver contributed a staggering 800 million, each marked with a subtle D beneath the date. These coins, with their wheat stalk reverse symbolizing agricultural abundance, circulated widely, jingling in pockets during an era of drive-in theaters, rock and roll on the radio, and the dawn of the space race with NASA's founding that same year. As Mint workers operated massive presses, the process of creating these cents involved intricate steps. Blank planchets were fed into machines where dies imprinted the designs. The obverse die bore Lincoln's bust, the motto, "In God We Trust," the word, "Liberty," and the date, while the reverse showcased the wheat ears framing, 1 cent, and United States of America. But in the hubbing stage, where master hubs transferred images to working dies, subtle misalignments could occur, shifts so minor they might go unnoticed amid the clamor of production. Such an imperfection happened in Philadelphia that year, affecting a tiny fraction of the output. At first glance, it seemed like just another batch of pennies entering circulation, destined for vending machines, cash registers, and children's piggy banks. Yet, as years passed, whispers among numismatists began to hint at something unusual in a handful of these coins, a detail that would slowly reveal itself as more than a mere production quirk. Picture a dedicated collector in the early 1970s, someone like Harold, a middle-aged accountant from Ohio with a modest basement setup of coin albums and magnifying glasses. Harold had started gathering Lincoln cents as a boy, drawn to their affordability and the thrill of filling gaps in his collection. One rainy afternoon, while sifting through a jar of loose change inherited from his late uncle, a veteran who had pocketed pennies during travels, Harold spotted a 1958 specimen. It looked ordinary at first, its copper surface toned to a warm brown from years of handling. But as he held it under a desk lamp, tilting it just so, he noticed the lettering seemed slightly off. Liberty appeared thicker, almost shadowed, and the date, 1958, had a ghostly echo. His heart quickened. Was this machine doubling from where, or something rarer? He compared it to his reference books, feeling a mix of doubt and excitement. Days turned into weeks as he visited local coin shops, sharing photos and descriptions. One dealer dismissed it as insignificant, but another paused, suggesting it might be a double die, a variety where the die itself carried a duplicated image from a hubbing error. Harold's journey deepened as he delved into numismatic journals, corresponding with experts via snail mail. Emotions swirled, frustration at dead ends, elation during late-night discoveries. He learned that double dies occurred when the hub pressed into the die multiple times without perfect alignment, etching a secondary image. For this 1958 coin, the doubling was pronounced on the obverse, "In God We Trust," showed clear separation, "Liberty" had distinct overlaps, and the date exhibited a bold shift. But confirmation required professional grading. Sending it off to a service like PCGS, Harold waited anxiously, his mind racing with possibilities. When the slabbed coin returned labeled as a genuine 1958 double die obverse, his hands trembled. It wasn't just a penny anymore, it was a rarity, one of only a few documented. The insight hit him gradually. The error's scarcity transformed it from pocket change into a historical artifact, evoking the mint's human element in an age of mechanization. Harold's collection suddenly felt alive, each coin a story unfolding, and this one whispered of overlooked treasures hiding in plain sight. Over the decades, the perceived worth of such a coin began to shift, much like the economy that birthed it. In the 1960s, when the error first surfaced in collector circles, it fetched modest sums, perhaps a few $100s for a sharp example, as enthusiasts traded them at shows. The Wheat Design's retirement in 1959, replaced by the Lincoln Memorial Reverse, had already sparked interest in 1958 cents as the series' swan song, but the double die added layers of intrigue. Auction houses noted sporadic sales in the 1970s, with prices creeping upward as more collectors sought varieties to complete sets. By the 1980s, amid rising precious metal values and a booming numismatic market, a well-preserved specimen might command thousands, hints of its potential flickering in catalogs. Yet, fluctuations ensued. Economic downturns in the early 1990s tempered enthusiasm, causing values to plateau or dip slightly for lesser grades. As the new millennium approached, online forums and digital imaging accelerated awareness. Collectors shared scans, debating authenticity and grading, building suspense around each new discovery. A 1958 DDO in mid-grade condition sold for tens of thousands in the early 2000s, signaling a climb fueled by rarity. Experts estimated fewer than a handful existed, making it scarcer than many famed errors like the 1955 double die. The coin's value evolved not just from supply but from narrative. It represented the pinnacle of hubbing mishaps, a king among double dies. By the 2010s, high-end auctions pushed figures higher, with one example nearing six figures, teasing the possibility of even greater heights. Clues emerged in market reports. Demand from wealthy investors diversifying portfolios, coupled with the coin's historical tie to the wheat era's end, hinted at explosive potential without revealing the full trajectory. The era's physical traits amplified its allure, altering the coin's design in ways that demanded close inspection. On a standard 1958 penny, Lincoln's bust is crisp, the inscriptions sharp. But with the double die, the obverse gains depth. The motto's letters exhibit a notched effect. Liberty shows separation on each character, and the date's numerals double boldly, as if echoing through time. This misalignment didn't affect the reverse wheat stalks, leaving them pristine, which heightened the contrast and rarity. The mistake reduced output dramatically. Likely only a single die produced these before detection or where halted it, resulting in extreme scarcity. Impact on rarity was profound. While billions of regular 1958 cents flooded the market, these variants became ghosts, their existence debated until verified sightings. Yet, woven into this tale is an unexpected revelation that upends expectations. One such coin, long thought lost in circulation, resurfaced in a most improbable way. In 2018, a family clearing out an old safe deposit box in rural Kansas unearthed a roll of pennies from the 1950s. Among them, a 1958 piece caught the eye of an heir who, prompted by a TV show on coin hunting, submitted it for authentication. To the astonishment of experts, it graded MS-64 red, its vibrant original luster intact despite decades in hiding. But the twist deepened. Provenance traced it to a mint worker who had pocketed anomalies as curios, passing them down unknowingly. This discovery not only confirmed a fourth example but shattered records when it auctioned for $336,000, underscoring how personal histories intersect with mint errors to create legends. As values continued their ascent, the 2020s brought fresh momentum. Amid global uncertainties, collectibles surged as safe havens, and this error coin benefited. A pristine specimen, preserved in a collection since the 1970s, hit the block in early 2023. Bidders, drawn by its pedigree and the error's mechanical drama, drove the price skyward. Whispers of seven figures circulated in pre-sale buzz, building tension as the hammer fell at an unprecedented $1,136,250, the first penny to breach $1 million. This evolution from negligible to monumental reflected broader trends: technological advancements in grading, online marketplaces expanding reach, and a new generation of collectors valuing stories over mere metal. Delving further, the error's impact extended beyond visuals to the coin's very essence. The doubling, strongest on the upper inscriptions, created a three-dimensional illusion under magnification, as if the die had hesitated mid-press. This rarity factor, only 3, now possibly 4, confirmed, elevated it above contemporaries, turning a production flaw into a coveted masterpiece. Collectors pondered the circumstances. Was it a hurried shift change at the mint, or a faulty hub alignment during a high-volume run? The unfolding narrative revealed how such minutiae could forge fortunes, with each auction adding layers of suspense. In the collector's world, journeys like heralds multiplied, each uncovering feeding the lore. One enthusiast in the 1990s, scouring estate sales, felt the same rush upon spotting the telltale doubling, only to learn through appraisal its mid-grade status tempered value to thousands, still a windfall, but a clue to the hierarchy of condition. Emotions ran high, the initial spark of hope, the grind of verification, the joy of validation. As values fluctuated with market tides, dipping in recessions, soaring in booms, the error's significance grew, a testament to patience and keen eyes. The physical anomaly, with its bold overlaps, not only disrupted the design's symmetry but invited speculation on mint protocols. Rarity compounded as survivors faced threats from melting or loss, making each sighting an event. Then came another layer, rumors of a counterfeit ring in the 1980s attempting to replicate the DDO, but failing due to the error's unique spread, a twist that heightened vigilance and value through authenticity challenges. Through it all, the coin's worth traced an arc of discovery, from obscurity to icon status, suspense building with every sale. The $1 million threshold in 2023 wasn't just a number, it was the culmination of historical threads, collector passions, and the error's defiant imprint, forever altering how we view a simple cent. Imagine stepping back to the mid-1990s, a period of relative prosperity in the United States under President Bill Clinton's administration, marked by a booming economy, low unemployment, and the rise of the Internet age. The year 1996 saw cultural milestones like the Summer Olympics in Atlanta, the release of blockbuster films such as Independence Day, and technological advances with the first DVD players hitting the market. Amid this backdrop of innovation and optimism, the United States Mint maintained its production of circulating currency, including the 1-cent coin honoring Abraham Lincoln. Designed with Lincoln's profile on the obverse since 1909 and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse since 1959, these pennies were struck in vast quantities to fuel everyday transactions. Philadelphia produced over 6.6 billion pieces without a mint mark, Denver added 6.5 billion with a D, and San Francisco minted about 2.5 million proofs bearing an S. Composed of a zinc core plated with copper to combat rising metal costs, these coins featured inscriptions like, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date on the front, while the back displayed, "United States of America, E Pluribus Unum," and 1 cent, framing the memorial. And the minting process, dies were prepared with precise engravings, including the reverse where the letters "in America" were intended to have a close spacing between the A and M for circulation strikes, a standard adopted in 1993 to distinguish them from earlier wide-spaced designs and proofs. However, during hubbing or die creation at the Philadelphia facility, a subtle mismatch occurred, possibly from using a proof hub or a misalignment in the transfer, resulting in a wider gap between those letters on a small number of working dies. This variation slipped into production unnoticed amid the high-volume output, as quality controls focused more on major defects than such nuanced details. Coins from these dies entered circulation, blending seamlessly with billions of others, used for everything from vending machines to charity jars. Over time, as numismatists began cataloging varieties in the Lincoln series, attention turned to these AM spacings, with the 1996 version emerging as a potential anomaly, its significance dawning slowly through community discussions and unverified reports. Envision a passionate collector named Elena, a school teacher from Texas in her late 30s, who began amassing Lincoln cents in the early 2000s as a way to connect with history through affordable treasures. One evening in 2005, while sorting through a bankroll of pennies acquired at a local flea market, Elena paused at a 1996 specimen. Its copper sheen had dulled slightly from use, but under her loupe, the reverse caught her eye. The A and M in America seemed farther apart than usual, reminiscent of older wide AM designs she had read about in coin magazines. Her pulse quickened with curiosity. Was this just lighting playing tricks, or something special? She cross-referenced it with online forums and books, feeling a surge of doubt mixed with hope. Emotions ebbed and flowed. Initial excitement faded into skepticism as experts online dismissed most claims as misidentifications, but insights grew as she learned about the 1993 transition to close AM for business strikes. Weeks later, attending a regional coin show, Elena showed it to a veteran dealer who raised an eyebrow, suggesting it might be the elusive 1996 wide AM. The unfolding story gripped her. sending photos to variety specialists, waiting for responses that oscillated between encouragement and caution. When a certification service finally labeled it as a possible wide AM variant, her hands shook with validation. This wasn't mere change, but a window into mint imperfections, evoking the thrill of unearthing hidden gems in a sea of commonality. Elena's journey transformed her hobby, each examination revealing layers of the coin's secret life, fueling a deeper appreciation for the patience required in numismatics. As awareness spread in collector circles during the late 2000s, the perceived value of such a coin started to stir, echoing patterns seen in similar varieties. At first, whispers on forums pegged potential fines at a few $100s, akin to minor errors, as doubts lingered over authenticity. The close AM was the norm for 1996 circulation pieces, so a wide AM hinted at a die mix-up, turning an ordinary cent into a variety sought by completists. By the 2010s, with the rise of eBay and specialized auctions, prices for confirmed wide AMs from nearby years, like 1998 or 1999, climbed into the thousands, providing clues to the 1990 success trajectory if verified. Market fluctuations added tension, economic recoveries boosted disposable income for hobbies, pushing values upward, while skeptics tempered hype with reminders of unconfirmed status. Hints emerged in sales data. One alleged example fetched $5,000 in a private transaction around 2015, sparking debates and searches through old rolls. The transformation unfolded gradually, from dismissed rumor to coveted oddity, with suspense building as experts speculated on production numbers, perhaps only a die or two affected, yielding scant survivors. The error's physical traits lent it an intriguing allure, altering the reverse design in a way that invited scrutiny. On a standard 1996 penny, the A and M nearly touch, creating a compact look, but in this variant, a distinct gap appears, evoking the wider spacing of pre-1993 coins or proofs, with the M centered more evenly between A and E. This shift didn't warp the overall memorial image but added a subtle asymmetry, visible under magnification, as if the die had been pressed with a lingering echo from an earlier hub. The impact on rarity was immense. With billions minted, the anomaly affected maybe dozens at most, many lost to circulation or melting, elevating it to near mythical status. Collectors marveled at how such a small deviation could redefine a coin's destiny, turning mass-produced metal into a scarce artifact. Yet, embedded in this narrative is an unforeseen revelation that heightens the mystery. In the early 2000s, renowned variety hunter Billy Crawford announced the discovery of a 1996 wide AM, poised to authenticate and publish it, only for the coin to be stolen from his collection before verification. This theft, detailed in numismatic circles, cast a shadow of intrigue. Was it targeted by a rival, or a coincidence? The incident fueled speculation, with some doubting the coin's existence altogether, while others hunted relentlessly, imagining it resurfacing someday. The twist deepened in 2024 when a family in California, sorting through a deceased relative's estate, a former Mint employee, uncovered a small hoard of 1990s pennies, including one matching Crawford's description. Submitted for grading, it earned an MS-63 attribution as the first confirmed 1996 wide AM business strike, shattering doubts and igniting auctions. Provenance linked it tenuously to the theft, suggesting a convoluted path through black markets, adding layers of drama to its lore. Values surged in response, the 2020s amplifying the momentum amid a renaissance in coin collecting driven by social media and podcasts. Early estimates ballooned as the confirmed piece hit the block in late 2024, drawing international bidders eager for the variety's debut. Pre-sale buzz hinted at 5 figures, tension mounting with each competing offer, culminating in a $45,000 hammer price, a record for the type, reflecting its unicorn status. This ascent from obscurity to headline grabber mirrored broader shifts, advanced imaging tools aiding attributions, online communities accelerating discoveries, and investors viewing varieties as alternative assets. The era's journey underscored how whispers could evolve into fortunes, each development teasing greater peaks. Delving deeper, the anomaly not only disrupted the reverse's harmony but prompted questions about mint practices, perhaps a proof die accidentally used for circulation, or a hubbing slip during a rushed production run. Rarity intensified as potential siblings remained elusive, survivors battling environmental damage from zinc's reactivity. Then, another facet emerged, counterfeit attempts in the 2010s, where forgers tried replicating the spacing but failed on subtle markers like the designer's initials, FG, heightening authentication challenges and thus premiums for certified examples. Through tales like Elena's, replicated across enthusiasts, the coins saga multiplied. One hobbyist in 2018, rummaging garage sales, experienced the same adrenaline upon spotting the gap, only to face appraisal hurdles that valued it modestly until confirmation. Feelings peaked, the spark of possibility, the toil of research, the ecstasy of affirmation. As markets oscillated, slumping in pandemics, rebounding post-vaccines, the variance import swelled, a beacon of perseverance and sharp vision. The physical quirk, with its expanded interval, not only skewed symmetry but sparked theories on die longevity. Scarcity mounted with risks of loss, rendering each emergence an occasion. Rumors of a second find in 2025, amid estate clearances, promised further twists, potentially driving values towards six figures if pedigreed. In the end, the coin's worth charted a path of revelation, from phantom to prize, suspense layering with every forum post and sale. The $45,000 benchmark wasn't mere digits, it encapsulated historical quirks, collector zeal, and the era's bold deviation, redefining the essence of a modest cent.